unless you had the lease and said, this is the lease we're gonna sign, and every, you know, and no word can be changed on it.
But even if we have, people bring forward amendments to these articles, then they have to be voted on.
Right,
So,
the amendment
you know,
has to be voted on, right?
Yeah, they have to be voted on, and they're voted up or down. And so, I mean, it at least would give everybody at that town meeting the right to express what they like, and you just might come up with some darn good reasoning.
Well, I think the answer is, you know, I believe you can make those amendments to the warrant articles on the floor, but I can't tell you for certain without at least being able to look at some statutes to make sure that.
I've never seen a warrant, a town meeting warrant, you just couldn't amend, or even, you know, in the legislature, we amended things and tore them apart and did everything else, and, you know, when it came up, you could amend things.
No, I understand.
With a vote of the majority.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly sounds logical, and I would tell you that it sounds like you'd be able to do that. But I think you also have to think ahead as to what would be the kind of amendments. I think what these people are saying is, they wanna see the document that the town's gonna sign because they don't wanna leave anything open-ended.
Well, I do think they have a right to see the deed before we,
Yeah, the deed's not the problem. The deed conveys title, the legal description, there's nothing, that is unusual about the deed. It's just a transfer of title and a transfer back. But certainly you can make that available.
but I think they wanna see the wording of it, which I can understand.
Yep, sure, I understand.
You know, Alan, one question I just had for you is one thing we've heard very clear tonight, that you'd like a clear bifurcation of warrant article number 2 and warrant article number 3. And I think one thing that we could agree to right now, and hopefully add into language, why you're proposing the vote on these 3 warrants is simply adding into warrant 3 that in no such manner, if warrant 2 fails and warrant 3 passes, that you folks could transfer the deed, that we could add that type of language in. Is that something that would make the townsfolk more comfortable? We'd have no intention of doing one without the other, so to speak. So it would be very fair to put that in warrant number 3. You understand what I'm saying? Is that?
Well, if we can't do it tonight, we could do it as an amendment.
And I guess what I was asking Alan is tonight might be the most appropriate time. You're voting in the language to be out there. So at this point in time, you go ahead and add to warrant 3, right in that language, simply being that this does not allow a transfer of deed.
But I don't think we can change these warrants tonight.
Yes, you can,
Oh, we
absolutely.
can.
Yeah, tonight is your night where you're determining the language of the warrant article. It's gonna be voted on a week from tomorrow night.
And that way you can clearly bifurcate the 2 warrants and make sure that the answer that's been asked repetitive times, if warrant 2 fails, warrant 3 doesn't give you folks the right to then go back and transfer deed. And I think that's a clear question that's been asked. We would be amenable to having you folks add that language in.
Okay, now, and we would add it on to which
Warrant 3.
Article 3. And if Article, that's right, because if Article 2 fails.
Need to come up with some language, and then we're gonna have to,
I'll get earn your time tonight.
You know, it's hard, I'm here. Well,
Well, just plain that language, if Article 2 fails, it does not give the Board of Selectmen the right to
Pass Article 3.
pass.
Or vice versa. If Article 2 fails, Article 3 doesn't get the right to pass Article 2.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't give the board the right to pass Article 2.
That's correct.
right, I understand all that, but before you sign that document tonight, I'm gonna wanna have a clean, fresh copy in front of you.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to take a recess and make sure that whatever language we add is placed on it, and then we'll bring that document back and you can then sign it.
And didn't mean to confuse things.
It's fine.
well, we could add a sentence on Article 3 that
Sir, you
says,
put your hand down, we're not taking any comment right now.
Just from the outside, people
Excuse me.
who are running the
Excuse me.
town, no townspeople.
Excuse me,
I'm leaving, thank you, I see
Well,
where this
thank
is
you.
going.
thank you,
Let everybody else from
Thank
out of
you.
the town tell you what to do.
thank you.
You're welcome.
well, we could put in Article 3 the specific sentences says, this article shall not give the selectmen the authority to convey title if Article 2 does not pass.
Is that how you understand it, Keith?
Yeah, we're talking about the conveyance. We wouldn't have the authority to convey title at all.
Probably copies of those.
Right, I mean, I've given my opinion that I would tell you as the town attorney, you have no authority, but if the Board of Selectmen think that it would be clearer to add another sentence to this, you know, it's certainly easy enough to do that.
Okay.
To me, if Article 2 doesn't pass, then
You guys wanna look at that before the clerk and I go over and retype it?
it says, this article, and this is the language in Article 3, this article shall not give the selectmen the authority to convey title if Article 2 does not pass. One sentence.
Want to read it again,
Yes, this article shall not give the selectmen the authority to convey title if Article 2 does not pass.
We all set? Are there any other questions that we need to ask the board
No.
members? You have a motion and a
We have
second.
more second, any discussion or any more questions to Alan?
And let me also say one other thing. I don't know how much good it will do, but, you know, now that people have expressed their opinion, you know, I could tighten up the language upon terms and conditions that the selectmen deem to be in the town's best interest. I can say that, that the selectmen will be given the authority to sign the lease as drafted and presented at this meeting in its substantial form, and the selectmen shall have the authority to make minor changes, but not change it in any substantive way. Now, I'll word that better, but in other words, it would give, I mean, I'm not sure you're gonna comfort this crowd, but I think you could at least take care of that particular issue, that the lease is going to be the lease you sign, and the only thing that would change would be minor changes. And I don't know if that would help to make the selectmen feel better that this is,
I would suggest that the written material be typed and copies given to all of us, so that we can take a firm look in hard writing. I think that could be done now.
We have no choice. We have to do
We
it.
have,
Right.
tonight is the last
So
night.
it might be an ideal time if somebody would brought a second of the motions, is to take a recess, which at this point, get that done
We're playing.
and come back, and then we'll move
do
forward.
you have this in a Word document on your system?
Yes, it's right on Judy's computer. We can go right over it.
Judy, your computer's
I
still on?
just feel more
I'll go
comfortable
turn it
doing
on.
that way. That's
Yeah,
all. I think.
And again, you know, yes, I think I can tighten that language up and make it so it's primarily this lease with only minor, non-substantive changes.
I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay. The second and first
Yep.
has been withdrawn.
Yep.
And we're in a short recess. Well, I'm gonna put the ducks together.
I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a certified sign.
I had my box. I was gonna go.
My daughter lives. The second house.
Okay, we're out of recess. All selectmen have a new copy?
Oh, great.
Mr. Chairman, I would
Do
give
we
everybody.
want to reread it, or?
Yeah, I think you should read it, and I think you should let people comment on it, because as a result of these comments, we made these changes. So I think,
So y'all got new copies?
yes, everybody's got a new copy, so Article two stays the same, not only did it, it's just Article two.
Article two is exactly the same.
Yes.
Article three. Okay, I will reread Article three with a couple of changes in
Right
it,
over there, on the chair.
as soon as we can settle down. We all set? Article three. Shall the selectmen for the town of Berwick be authorized to enter in a long-term lease agreement for 99 years for leasing of the old Berwick High School property on School Street with Sullivan School Associates LP upon terms and conditions contained in the lease presented at the selectmen's meeting of August 16, 2011, with the additional authority for the selectmen to make minor, non-substantive changes in the lease. And that's what the question mark. This article shall not give the selectmen the authority to convey title if Article 2 does not pass. Couple of changes that were recommended by the audience, so if you get something new other than that, I'll take a couple comments. In the back,
Just a question mark, is that being edited out?
I don't know why I was there.
The question mark is sort of the form of, it's a question. You know, Article three is a question, Tom.
Oh, okay.
So, it's like Article two ends in a question mark, this one ends in a question mark, and then afterwards, it's just the additional statement for clarity.
Okay.
Please come on. Your name again?
Steve Coleman. Are we being precluded from comments on Article 2?
Article 2 hasn't changed, we already closed discussion.
You won't entertain a discussion?
Any more comments on Article 3? White shirt?
Yep, Mr. Whiteshirt, thank you. Still have the same question regarding the development premises. Why is that not in this lease? The lease says they're leasing them 10.3 acres. You only described 2.14 acres. Where's the rest of it? Anybody?
Well, I think it's up there.
Eleanor needs to be on this director, that's what he said we're gonna vote.
Yeah, do you have anything for this?
Well, you know, I have to acknowledge that Austin does have a point, that it could be defined better, okay? But if we start changing things too much, then we get into, you know, changing things and all. I think that's a minor non-substantive change. I didn't draft that language, this was done by the, you know, the Bateman, but I've reviewed it, so I'm not trying to say I haven't read it. It made sense to me, but I think it's clear what the development premises is when you read through it, but it could be clearer, so it's certainly something that we'll take a look at, and maybe if there's an easy way to kind of define it.
But when did the town of Berwick hire Bateman Brothers to do their legal work if they do the lease?
Well, Oscar, I was trying to be reasonable, but, you know.
I know, but that's not reasonable.
Well-
You're the man that's supposed to
Excuse me,
do this.
Oscar,
Excuse me.
you have a question and you had a point about a lease and the changes. And I acknowledge that there could be some changes. If you wanna start attacking me like you wanna attack the selectmen, that's not productive for anybody. So we can make changes to the lease to make it clearer, since that seems to be a very important point to you, but I suspect your points are bigger than this little language in the lease. Nevertheless, you brought it up. I think it's legitimate. We can make the minor point, and I don't think there's much more to discuss about it.
Well, I don't like when you say it's a minor technicality and things like that. 2 weeks ago, we had the moderator say the same thing about calling a special town meeting. These things aren't minor, you know, and that belongs on that description with the rest of it.
Anyone else? Article 3. Okay, closing discussion on Article 3. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the special town meeting warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Go ahead.
Yes, I arguments that I've heard, you know, are valid in most cases. However, the point is, this document simply authorizes this to be on the town warrant, so that the whole town can take a look at it, not just a few people that are sitting here right now. So that's, I just wanted folks to be aware of that.
Yes,
Is it possible to have a copy of the deed that we will be signing, if we sign this over, for the public to be able to read and see?
Yeah, the deed's prepared,
You've got the reconveyance agreement here, but I don't see, it isn't
no,
like
no,
it's in the deed.
but yes, the deed has been prepared, reviewed, and, I will have it, Keith, he'll have it in his office tomorrow morning. He can make it available on the town's website. The reconveyance agreement has been in some final form for a while. We'll have that in there, it's just a 3-page document. So that's not a problem, and we'll have that, available for everybody to take a look at.
Good, well, if everybody can have a look at that deed before we sign it, so that they can speak to any one of us about it, and give us their, how they feel, then I'll sign this special warrant tonight.
anyone else? All in favor? How did you vote? Did you vote? Yeah. 5-0?
Yes,
Okay.
if we could take a short recess now, so you guys can sign this, and we can allow these gentlemen to move on, so we can.
Okay, you have official copies there?
They're right there in front of you, to your left, you have 2 of them.
We need to sign 2 of them.
Yep.